So you guys, you join me with a GR Yaris. Yeah, I can't even get my words out. I'm just absolutely, I can't believe this is happening. We're in Wales. We're near Barla. You can kind of see at the back. You got some mountains. It's chucking it down with rain, but you know, it's a pretty good day, I'm not going to lie. So this is a GR Yaris circuit pack. This car is not your ordinary GR Yaris. This is a Litchfield tuned GR Yaris. So you're looking at sort of, I believe, around 360 horsepower. But some of the stuff, you know, I mean, I'll put some clips on screen. Even Venturi intake. Well, I can show you as well here. Akrapovič exhaust. So the Akrapovič exhaust is about £3,000 has gone on to that. It's in a pearlescent white paint. Now, I hope the camera kind of does it justice, but it's hard to tell. But this looks stunning. It reminds me of like the Oryx White, if you're familiar with like a Golf R. Really makes it tick. The biggest thing out of this entire car, yes, you get better noise from the exhaust, because I've driven a stock GR Yaris about a year ago and needs a little bit more. The biggest thing from this car for me is the Nitron suspension. I'm going to try, I'll list everything in the description that this owner's done to this car, because it's made what is one of the best hot hatches, you know, voted one of the best hot hatches recently by Piston Heads, into something even better, which I can't really believe. You might notice there is a, yeah, there's an M3 over there in Rosso Red, which I may or may not be showing on the channel soon also. But we'll focus on the GR Yaris, and actually it's a good one to compare to my Focus RS, which I've actually driven up here in that car. I mean, I've driven probably about 3 hours, about 160 miles to get here. That's Revo Stage 2. I'm literally just standing in the rain and I don't mind. This thing, the way it drives, the way it sounds, the way it soaks up the bumps, yeah, stock GR Yaris, absolutely great. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. And I thought the suspension was one of the best. But this, oh my God, it's something else, and you just don't see them. You don't see them at all. It's something, yeah, I mean, I'm lost for words. This has got the stock brakes on it as well. The one thing actually that gets me quite a lot in this, now both the M3, I can't really compare this car to an M3, can I? Both the M3 and my Focus RS have buckets, and they're quite fixed, they're quite firm. This actually has like really supportive seats, and it just makes things a lot more comfortable, you know, and it does hug you in, so it's quite nice. This car has a short shifter as well. Standard GR Yaris's gearboxes are really good. You get like that mechanical, I don't know if you can really hear it, it's like a proper notch. You have to drive it to experience it. GR Yaris, obviously part of the WRC stuff. I'm fortunate enough to have driven one quite a few times, and you know, to have the chance to really push this one. So the owner actually bought this with a few interior upgrades. So you can see this, it's just basically from standard you get this plasticky stuff, but this car has a little bit of like velvet type material, and I noticed it straight away, and it really makes a difference. This car also doesn't have back seats. It has something fitted by, I believe it's Stern Performance. So yeah, basically it actually makes it quite practical in terms of the through load. This is more of a fun car for the owner, and when I drove one, I felt it more as a fun car. It's quite hard to live with every day because it's always wants to go. It's definitely exciting. There's no denying that. It's a proper exciting car. But yeah, classic Toyota inside. We've got Android Auto, start stop. The one thing about the brakes as well, as I sort of half come out of the rain a little bit, the one thing with the brakes, they're either kind of on and off. You have to kind of get them warm. Slow speeds, you can find yourself, and I remember this from last time when I drove one, you can go into the back of someone because you just have nothing. You have to really stamp on them, but then they've really got great modulation and they stop. Like this car with technically the Akrapovič exhaust, and with that sort of left over from the back, it's actually really lightweight, sub 1200 kilos. It's pretty unbelievable. I can't really even believe that I'm even in it, to be honest. It's one of those moments. And yeah, genuinely I think it is one of the best hot hatches you could probably buy today new. You know, I've gone on about my Focus RS, and I love my Focus RS. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and it's my kind of dream. But actually, people might not know, I was looking at getting a GR Yaris, because at the time they were doing like 1.9% API or 0% APR, so it's just a no-brainer car that holds its value. I believe this owner's car is worth, well, with the options, I think they spent nearly sort of £9,000 on the Litchfield sort of work on the car. And they've been great with him, to be fair. They've really helped him out, so that's what I've heard. And that's really nice. You get frameless door mirrors as well, so I mean, I suppose Audi-esque in a Toyota. It's brilliant. And obviously you get the 4-wheel drive, so you in this car you get sport, track and normal. Track is 50-50 with the 4-wheel drive, so 50 rear, 50 front. Normal, I believe, is more like 70 front, 30 rear, and sport is like 70 rear, 30 front. Yeah, that's basically that. This car obviously having a little bit more power than a stock GR Yaris. Stock GR Yaris about 270. This is obviously about 80, 90 horsepower more. When you're on it, it's yeah, you got to be careful. You got to watch it, particularly with these tyres and the tracking. It's similar to my Focus RS. It follows the road. So you've got to be careful in that sort of regard. Yeah, the fact, like, listen to the rain. It's just like a magical moment. It reminds me when I was in Wales. I was in South Wales driving an MRC tuned RS3 about a year and a half ago, I think. And I wasn't in the best place, actually, and it really cheered me up, and it was just a great moment. This is kind of one of those moments as well. You know, I don't expect this kind of stuff, and you know, I'm really grateful to have you all supporting me, and you know, it's amazing, and I hope I can convey it to you, because you can watch reviews, but what's it actually like for you? What's it actually like for you in the UK if you have this car? It's really good. The owner works hard, you know, clearly, to be able to afford these kind of cars. So when he wants this as a fun car, that's the daily. Yeah, you know, it has to be a bit special, and this is. And again, as I said before, they kind of hold, you know, they're no brainer in terms of holding their money. And it's a fun car. I would say if you've got kids, obviously this car's missing its back seats. You can get them in. It's a bit cramped in here. I like the velvet touches. Normal GR Yaris is a little bit like, not 100% sure. So yeah, that's where we are with that. The paint sells it for me. I'm told by the owner, who was seeing me in his rear view mirror of his M3, that it looks pretty good as well. I would definitely, if you're going to go for the colour, this is my colour, to be honest with you. I like the black, but it's a little bit too subtle. I like pearlescent white as just a general colour. The flat white, you notice the difference. You wouldn't think you would, but you do. This is like the proper pearlescent part of it. I'm just looking at that mountain, because if you're familiar, we're sort of near Bala now. The roads around here are incredible, and I'm just enjoying them. I'm not going to lie, and that's a big, yeah. I genuinely don't know what else to say. I think I can see why this car is rated as one of the best, because it feels it to me. I'd be happy with one. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe this will convince me. Maybe this will convince me. If this has got the Litchfield bits, I wouldn't necessarily say the power is anything like, I wouldn't say it's like mandatory to get that, but out of everything that the owner's done, the two things that I would say go for, the short shifter's nice, but the standard gearbox is really good as well. The two things, the Nitron dampers or parts of the suspension, yes, I believe it's about £3,000, but you pay for what you get, and the Akrapovič, I would go for those two. And if you have to sort of save on one, just go for the suspension. But yeah, I'll put some clips in, but yeah, let me know any thoughts in the comments. This car is absolutely unreal. What a car. What a car. I mean, yeah, you don't get moments like this every day. So we're in the GR Yaris, yeah, to go for the drive. I've been driving this car around a lot, but yeah, this is just a bit of an experience of it. I'm red in the face, I'm wet, and I'm so almost emotional. Just, this is like, an unbelievable experience to be in. But one thing that I want to get across when we're going through this drive now is how good the Nitron suspension is. That's one of the biggest things for me, I feel. This obviously has the Akrapovič exhaust. It's about 360 horsepower. It's got a short shifter. I believe it's from Forge. So it's a Forge short shifter. It is a noisy car. The brakes, you've really got to stamp on them to get them working. You know, there's no being softy, touchy, feely kind of thing. You've really got to be on it. But I tell you what, when you're on it in this car, I mean, it's serious. It's absolutely torrential. We're in North Wales, as I mentioned, not too far from Bala, but I'm going to put her in track mode because I like track mode. I think that's the way to go with it. And it's such a, I've just come out of an M3, so it's a different guy. It's a lot more engaging. The seats are actually really comfortable in the GR Yaris. I found that on the large periods that I've driven it. We're on some absolutely brilliant roads, and I'll let you know, I'll put them into the picture for you guys. But the way the owner pushed on a little bit more than I did when I was a passenger, and I've never seen suspension like it. £3,000 for the Nitron dampers. I would generally, like I've said it, I'd go for that. Like, it's so good. People talk about big power, I'm more for everything else, but this little car on these roads is an absolute dream. I mean, it's a dream drive, it's a dream moment. Car is a tricky car to drive. You've got to be on it. You've got to be on it. You know, that's why I'm concentrating hard, really. You can see me, I'm straight on the road, I'm not looking at you guys. And we're only going 60. Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where I can go on and on and on, but you probably don't want to see my face or hear me talk about how amazing this car is. You probably want to see the roads that I'm driving on. Definitely one of the best cars, made even better by Litchfield and by the stuff that they offer. Yeah, it's a tearful moment because it's just, you know, the owner works fucking hard to get to these kind of positions. You don't, you know, you watch YouTube and you think, how does this fucking happen? It doesn't happen overnight. You've got to work your fucking bollocks off. I worked my tits off to get into a position where I can own a Focus RS edition outright and a Golf R outright and have not really changed my lifestyle in the slightest. You know, you work hard, this is what you can get. Look at JM on Cars, James, who I met up with him. How do you think he earns the Ferraris? Because he works bloody hard. And if you do work hard and you want a good car, this is one of them. This really is one of them. It's a really, really good car. One of the best I've driven in terms of hot hatches. Pure hot hatch. And even it's refined. You got a through load. I'm genuinely tempted. Like, I'm genuinely tempted. I was tempted before last year. I'm even more tempted now, I've got to say. Even more now. Amazing. about. I love it.